Have you ever heard people referring to smudging, or they said they're going to sage their house? Did you wonder what this meant? If you have, stick around because I'm going to tell you what that means. I'm going to tell you how to do it, why to do it, anything that you would want to know about smudging. Hi, and welcome back to the Wholeness Shift. If you're new here, please take a minute to not only like this video, but subscribe. Hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss anything. We're going to have a lot of good stuff. We're going to be talking about this kind of thing all the time, as well as many other kind of things. I wouldn't want you to miss anything, so hit the subscribe button. You guys have to excuse me this week. I'm a little bit froggy. I had the flu last week and pretty much good now, but I'm a little stuffy and raspy. First of all, what is it? Here are the basics in a nutshell. Smudging refers to the process of using the smoke from certain herbs to clarify a space, clear it of negative energy, etc. This was a ritual and a tradition that was found in many ancient cultures, particularly Native American cultures, where they used certain medicinal or what they considered spiritual herbs, and they used the smoke of that for the purposes of cleansing or clearing, as well as blessings. If you take a few minutes to do a quick Google search, you'll see that science has shown that the smoke from sage and smudging, it will clear something like 98% of the bacteria in a space. So it is scientifically proven to physically clear negative things out of the room. But spiritually, it's also believed that it can clear negativity out of a space. And if you're an empath or a clairsentient, then you know that that's true because you can feel a huge difference afterwards. So when do you do this? When are you supposed to smudge and under what circumstances? First of all, the simple answer is anytime you want, anytime you feel like you need it. But there are some times where it might be more appropriate to do it. And I'm going to talk about those times right now. First of all, whenever anybody negative leaves your home, sage when they go. Yeah, have a little sage party. Do you ever have those people who just come in and they just seem to suck the life and the energy and they just leave like a toxic cloud when they leave? And you're like, ugh, perfect time to sage. If there's been a lot of fighting or arguments or disagreements or stress, if there's been a lot of illness, or you haven't been feeling good and it's been a lot of low energy, just not feeling good stuff, that's a good time to sage as well. Another good time to smudge would be when you move into a new house. You want to clear that home of all of the energy that may have come before and have like a blank canvas, a fresh palette. Other times you might want to smudge are when you're looking for clarity. You don't have to just smudge a space, a physical environment. You can also sage your personal space, your aura, the energy around your body. Your aura can pick up all kinds of, little negative stuff in there. So in that case, instead of saging and smudging the room, you would simply sage or smudge all around you and your space, your personal auric space. The big time that you're going to want to smudge is if you're having any kind of issues with negative energies in your room. And that's actually when I started smudging. A little bit of background about me. 2 of my daughters are clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient. They're all the things, all the clairs. And they were having a lot of trouble in one of the homes that we lived in. One room in particular, the whole house was giving them issues, but the one room in particular, they were seeing some kind of creepy things and just feeling some negative vibes. So after talking with my spirit guides about this, they were telling me that the one bedroom where they were having a lot of trouble was actually a portal. And that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. A portal is just a door. It's a place where the veil's just a little bit thinner and energies or beings can travel back and forth between those dimensions a little easier. So they said that it was important to keep that room smudged in order to keep the energy lighter. This leads me into the how do you do it? Well, a lot of people believe that you should just smudge the hell out of it. Just smoke it all out. Smudging is such an easy, inexpensive, effective way to clear the energy in your home. Whenever anyone refers to smudging, most of the time you can be pretty certain that they're referring to white sage. Now, with white sage, this is just a bunch of sage leaves from the plant that are bundled together and wrapped with string. And it'll come in bundles, usually about this size. You can get them really big, and I've seen them a little bit smaller, but this is pretty typical. And then this one's already been burned on one end, as you can see, or else it would just be white like that. You just take your lighter, you light it, let the flame go out, and then you just slowly, use the smoke to do your smudging. Now, besides sage, a lot of people like to use Palo Santo. And Palo Santo is not an herb or a grass, as you can see. It's a little stick. It's a piece of the Palo Santo tree. It smells so beautiful. It smells earthy and sweet, and it's very calming and grounding. If you've ever been to Arizona during one of the seldom times that it rains, this is what it smells like. And you, just like the sage, you light them on fire and let them smoke. This is sweetgrass. It smells so good. It smells like vanilla and hay, and it just smells divine. This is used to invoke love and joy, hope, and all those positive energy things into your home. The sage and the Palo Santo kind of wipe the slate clean and wipe out all the negative stuff, and this doesn't wipe anything out. This just invites the good stuff. So now that you know 3 basic types of things that you can use to smudge, how do you do it? Well, to begin with, before you smudge ever, please open your doors and your windows. Even if it's the wintertime, open them up. Because some people it doesn't bother and they burn it all the time. Some people it bothers your lungs a lot. So if you have any kind of respiratory issue like asthma or emphysema, COPD, any of these kinds of things, or if you have little kiddos or you have elderly people living with you, please open your doors and your windows. That way the smoke from these things don't really exacerbate anything in your lungs. Plus, then you get the extra added benefit of having fresh energy come into your home as you're expelling all the bad stuff. So first, you should have decided what area of your home you're doing, or what are you doing with it. Are you doing your whole house? Are you doing one room? Are you doing yourself? What are you doing? Once you've made that decision, let's say that you need to sage your whole house just to get a baseline cleanse going. As you're saging, let's say you're going to smudge with sage, okay? You have your sage, you have your lighter, which I don't have with me, but you have your long lighter. You're going to need something to carry under the sage or to hold under the sage so that it doesn't let embers fall onto your floor like we talked about. You're going to have your lighter, you're going to have your sage, you're going to have your ashtray or some kind of non-flammable tray or plate or saucer or something. And then you're going to have your feather, or you're going to have whatever you're going to use to waft the smoke if you need that. If you have a place with lower ceilings and the windows aren't very high, you probably won't even need it because you can reach the tops of your windows with your hands probably. You're going to take your lighter, you're going to light it, and you'll see in the video, I'll show you, it takes a little bit to light this because it's so tightly packed, like I said. So you light it, let it go, it'll simmer down into smoke pretty quickly, and then strike while the iron's hot. While it's smoking, take it and just wave it near the tops of doors, tops of windows, tops of mirrors. If you need it, take the feather and waft. And then when you're done, stamp it out like you would a cigarette in an ashtray and save it for next time. And it's the same process with the Palo Santo or the sweetgrass. It's really not hard. It's one of the easiest things. As I said earlier, it depends on what your issue is or what the issue is regarding how often you'll have to do it. But if you strive to keep a peaceful, loving home, you won't have to do it very often. But it's nice to know that when you do have to do it, how easy and simple it is. So that wraps up our conversation about smudging. I hope that this helped you understand it a little bit better. I hope it answered any questions, and I hope it gave you some quick, easy steps to be able to clear the energy in your home as well. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you had any experiences with saging or smudging, or with sweetgrass, or with Palo Santo? What's your favorite to use? Let me know down there. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and please like this video. I'm grateful that you stopped by to listen, and I look forward to sharing even more information with you next week. Until then.